Welcome to a brand new episode of Roll for Crit at Gen Con 2015. I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and if it isn't obvious, we're talking about Mice and Mystics today. Not really. Ashes. Same publisher.
Same publisher, Ashes Rise of the Phoenixborn. You
Yep.
got that great subtitle.
Of course.
And from Isaac Vega, who worked on other Plaid Hat games, such as the infamous Dead of Winter. So you can bet that there's going to be a lot of cool stuff in here. This is a 2-player, or 2 to 4 player.
2 to 4 player.
Excuse me. Sort of a mystical dueling game in the vein of things like Magic, Hearthstone, I'd say, of that
Yes.
nature. So give me a
Well,
scoop.
the general backstory is that the world was falling apart, but then Phoenix energy sort of went into these people known as the Phoenixborn to help fight to save the day.
Good name for them.
However, apparently the Phoenixborn sort of drives you mad to go Highlander against all the other Phoenixborns.
Right.
To sort of collect all their power, and I don't know why it sort of reminds me of like the Phoenix Force from Marvel, but the point of the game is you'll be playing as one of these Phoenix Force cards. This is what they look like. Backside. They'll have a health, in which that's your health, and when your health hits 0, you're out of the game, and if everyone else is dead, you win.
So essentially, you have a guy, and you have
Yes.
units and creatures, whatever you call the units and the allies, that protect your guy.
Correct.
It seems pretty cool. The art is really cool. I'm wondering what your take on it. I found it interesting, not having played Magic, but having played things like Dice Masters and Hearthstone. It seems like in the same line. I think what makes this game different to me is the fact that you also have dice, in addition to your cards, that you roll each turn that can give you different powers or energy and things like that.
Actually, that was where I was going to start, was with
Take it.
the dice. You see here, I have 3 different kinds of dice. They're, in essence, if we compare it to Magic, they're like the lands. But instead of always having your lands out, or having to wait until you get them, you have 10 no matter what throughout the game. And at the beginning of each round, you're going to roll them. And they have 3 different kinds of faces, which I sort of have here. There's a basic one, which all of them have. They have a intermediate one, which can act as a basic or an intermediate. Then like the master one, which each one has 1.
Those are special ability.
If you're ever wondering what all the symbols are, each dice type, so color type in a way, has its own card, which tells you what each symbol is, and actually has a special ability, which is really impressive. That means it's almost like each color it's not just the color, you actually get ability tagged on with it.
Yeah.
Which is a big deal.
So depending on what you roll, there's a lot of different things you could do. And
Right.
I like what you said about it being like your mana or land or whatever, because I think that's really cool because, those things they're necessary in most card games like Magic, the energy, but it's never really like fun to draw that. So I like that this makes your deck really clean and streamlined, and it leaves the rest of that stuff elsewhere.
Well, I think another thing we should point out that happens is that at the start of your game, at the start of the turn, instead of just drawing from top of the deck, you actually get to search for your starting hand. Sort of a big deal.
Yeah, that's definitely that makes a big difference.
Well, what that means also is we're probably not, hopefully, are not going to see a lot of comboing. Because that's the kind of things combo Magic players dream of.
Right, so you'd think that it's a little different.
Not nearly as
way.
comboing.
Yeah, and of course there's rules in here for drafting and building your own decks.
Right.
So that's a whole big aspect of this.
Before we go into what actually building decks, we should
Yeah.
note this comes with 6, enough for, you only need 1 copy, I should say, enough play sets, not like certain other card games.
LCGs, we'll say.
LCGs, 2 PC, ECGs.
Any kind of Gs.
Might need multiple core sets. This one has full copies of everything. And with it, you can build 6 different decks for the 6 different Phoenixborns that come with it. And if you're lucky enough, some of the first ones come with a 7th one, not a deck with it, just a 7th one and a card unique for her. Which I should actually point out, this is another thing interesting. Certain cards have a picture of a Phoenixborn in the bottom corner. That card can only be put in the deck with that Phoenixborn.
Okay.
It definitely puts much bigger emphasis on the Phoenixborns themselves.
Yeah, so you can really
It's not
customize it.
Commander, which is a form of Magic I play a lot. It's not just like, oh, there's just this legendary creature you can slap in as your general. It's like, no,
It makes it more personal and more like you're actually playing as that person.
Right.
Yeah. Yes. And 6 decks that's a lot. That gives you plenty of stuff to play around with.
And the building itself is very simple. It's literally choose your Phoenixborn, and make sure you have cards. I think it's 60. I can't remember.
It might
the
be
deck
30.
I think it might be 30. I'm
Yeah.
mixing it up. And just make sure you pick your dice. Obviously, you want to pick ones that probably he has an ability too. So if he needs a certain color, I'm guessing you want that color.
Right.
And make sure you have these to go with it. That reminds me, the other big thing is the card types, which actually brings me to a different card game it reminded me of, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! If you haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! Before, there's the regular deck, but then you also have the fusion deck. This deck isn't one shuffled or anything. It's one you're able to search and draw cards from if you meet certain conditions. In that case, the originally was like take 2 monsters and a spell and you fuse them together, hence fusion deck.
Okay.
In this, it has the conjure deck, which is put aside. These are special cards that have a black back compared to the white one. They are just like at your allies, like creatures. They go onto the battlefield and fight, but they're sort of summoned specially through other spells. A lot of the ones I saw are from special tomes you keep on the field. One was spiders that sort of like you play the spell when someone kills one of yours, and the whole thing is spiders pop out of the creature, which is terrifying.
So yeah, there's a lot of cool, different variety of creatures and effects that can happen.
Right.
And of course, we always say with a Plaid Hat game, but the art and the flavor text and that kind of thing is really neat.
No, actually, that was something interesting because to put the personal touch, there's a lot of cards, even if it's not just for this guy. There are cards with him on it, and it'll tell you stories like if the bottom of this flavor text is "You're deceived. Nothing in this world is worth saving," and then there's a card showing him like holding a woman, and she's disintegrating. So like there's a story in these characters and stuff.
So this is definitely a game with potential for lore.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Deep lore.
And I think it's definitely, if you're into any card games, worth checking out. This alone is really fun and interesting because, like you said, it changes the way you think.
As soon as you see the dice, it's like, I want to roll these puppies.
The one other thing, which also stops comboing, that happens, we should mention too, which is interesting, is the way it works is you take your turn, you pretty much do one main action and side action, then your opponent does one main action, side action. And through that, things will get exhausted. Your fluke, your tap, your exhaust,
Sure, and then don't you re-spark them as well?
That's a special keyword ability, but that's...
Oh, okay, it's not different from on. Go ahead.
But the point is, they stay exhausted as you go back and forth until both of you pass. Only then do you get the recover phase that you may be used in many games.
Right.
So it has a much different style.
A little more of a, maybe not slower paced, but more...
It's not slow.
Thoughtful?
Well, it's much more of a back and forth instead of a build up maybe and then hit for a bunch kind of deal.
Yeah, it's definitely we'll do a different field, different strategies, different styles, which is nice.
Can't wait to get a chance to play this. Obviously, I'm going to use the pre-made decks first.
Yeah, and obviously, we probably don't need to say too much more because it is Plaid Hat. I'm sure Designer of Dead of Winter. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be popular.
And I'm sure there's gonna be more expansions.
Oh yes, there absolutely will be. So if you like what you see, let us know, or you can find more Gen Con news always forever at rollforcrit.com/GenCon15. Until we see you again, I'm Jonathan Estes.
I'm Will Keeler, and this has been Roll for Crit at Gen Con 2015.